Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us on another episode of STEM Together, where we facilitate conversations involving industry professionals on everyday matters involving STEM. Now, I'm Danny from Science Centre Singapore, and I'm joined today by local and international James Dyson Award winner, Team Hopes from NUS. Hello, Team Hopes.
Hi. Hello.
And David, how are you
Hello.
all?
Yeah, we're great. Today has been a very great day. The weather's been really nice.
All right, thank you for joining us on STEM Together. Glad to know the weather is good. Today's topic will definitely catch your eye. It concerns eye health. Now, our guests from NUS are well placed to share revealing insights about it after inventing an award-winning kit to test for glaucoma in the comfort of our own homes. Now, let's discuss glaucoma in three parts. Part 1, the problem. Part 2, the solution. And Part 3, reflections. But before we dive into discussion, let's just find out a little bit about glaucoma first. So first off, Team Hopes, what is glaucoma?
Glaucoma is an eye condition in which the eye experiences increased internal pressure because the fluid in the eye is unable to drain sufficiently to regulate this eye pressure. And what happens is that the eye will then deform into sort of like a rugby ball shape because of the increased eye pressure, and this causes a lot of damage, gradual damage to the optic nerves that will gradually lead to blindness. So sufferers of glaucoma will feel that their sense of sight narrows slightly to the point where they will need to turn to face whatever that they're looking at instead of relying on their peripheral vision. And over time, then when the eye pressure increases, you begin to experience headaches, and then after that, you lose your sense of sight.
Right, thanks, David. So it sounds like it's intraocular pressure.
Yes, intraocular eye pressure. Yes.
Eye pressure. Can I clarify? So does that mean that anyone with intraocular pressure will just likely have glaucoma? Is that true for every situation?
Well, if you do experience increased eye pressure, I think this it all depends on whether or not the mesh in the back of your eye is able to drain the fluid properly. So especially if you subject your eye to a lot of strain, or as you age, the eye is less able to clear that fluid away, then the risk of glaucoma will increase. Yes.
Okay. All right. So thanks for establishing that. So it sounds like it can lead to that.
Yes.
With an increase in pressure. And that will affect your range of vision, as you mentioned, right?
Exactly.
All right. So what else can you tell us about glaucoma, and how did you get this knowledge about it? Like, how did you understand more about what glaucoma is?
Well, I think for us, I think our first exposure to glaucoma and our research into the effects of glaucoma happened when we found out that Kalu had a prior experience with glaucoma. And at the same time, within our own research group in NUST research group, we were also looking into different ways that we could use our sensor technology, and we started to when we heard about Kalu's problem, we also met with an ophthalmologist at the National University Hospital, and from him, as well as Kalu's own experience, we began to understand the challenges involving glaucoma, its treatment, and its diagnosis.
Because maybe what are some misconceptions that people have about glaucoma?
Well, a lot of people seem to think that glaucoma is something that can be easily cured by surgical means. That is not true, because glaucoma is a chronic eye condition. So basically, once you start to have glaucoma, there's only a slowing down the process of
Yeah.
of losing your sight. So you can alleviate the symptoms by using the prescribed eye drops, and from that, then you have a less impact on your lifestyle. But glaucoma, once you do get it, it's a chronic disease, so you will always have to live with it. I think what's important is that glaucoma when it's detected earlier, it is easier for patients to manage. So that's why the emphasis is on regularly going to the doctor to check your eye pressure, and so that when you lose that peripheral vision, at that point is actually kind of too late, because you did actually lose your sight already. So if we are able to capture be able to detect the increase in eye pressure and the risk of glaucoma earlier, then we might be able to actually help more glaucoma patients to retain more of their sight.
All right, thanks for sharing that, David. All right, let's go into the first part of this discussion, which is the problem. As a project group, naturally, I think when you go about trying to come up with something for the James Dyson Award, there'll be so many problems and gaps out there. How did glaucoma come to be the topic of choice?
And I can take that question.
Your father was diagnosed with glaucoma, right? And this motivated you to delve deeper into the disease and for treatments. So maybe, Kala, you want to share a little bit about that, and also maybe share a little bit about the rest of the team. How did this topic resonate with the rest of the team?
Sure. So it's actually during my school holiday. My dad actually caught glaucoma. And I actually accompanied him several times to the hospital for his eye pressure checked, because to diagnosis and for glaucoma treatment, the constant monitoring of eye pressure is very crucial. And I actually find the process is really painful. It's during the eye inspection to check his eye pressure. There's this detection probe that they need to press directly against his cornea. So the whole process is only can be done by the experts or like clinicians. So it's a clinical available practice only. And the whole process is very painful, quite invasive, because the probe is like pressing against your eyes, and my dad needs to apply anesthesia too. So I really find it uncomfortable, but I can't do anything. I can't help him with it. I actually accompany him every 2 to 3 hours to the hospital just to get his eye pressure checked. And after I came to Singapore for my PhD study, I was introduced to tactile sensor, which is one of like our leading technology in our research group. And I actually find the tactile sensor has the potential that can be applied to this problem. And I don't know whether glaucoma is that a prevalent problem in Singapore. So later we talked to clinicians, and we also did some of the research, and we found that actually glaucoma is a prevalent disease that amongst the middle-aged and elderly people in Singapore. There are around 3% of people actually every year in Singapore that catch glaucoma, and they may lose their sight without notice, because as David has mentioned, you need to catch the disease really early, and also regular monitoring of the eye pressure is really important. That's why this problem starts to come into our picture, and we find it our sensor technology has the potential and to improve people's life. And also in Singapore, because like there's aging population problem, and also people have very busy schedule. So we think a in-home healthcare is actually more cost effective than hospital. Yeah, so it's actually all these reasons that adds up. The combination of all these that actually inspire us to focus on this topic. And it's actually not just my experience only. It's actually the whole team's effort, because for Li Si, he's one of our senior PhD students, and he has been working in the field of tactile sensor for the past 3 years. And he's actually also looking for suitable applications to our high-speed and high-resolution sensor. And David is our research assistant. He's really passionate about coding and about all these machine learning program that is able to use artificial intelligence and allow people to understand artificial intelligence more by solving some problem that is really pertinent to their own life. Yeah, so that's why it's my own experience combining with like their experiences and their research interests and passion that allow us to focus on glaucoma and come up with hopes.
Yeah, wow. So that's a nice team name that you have, I think, because it really sounds like sounds a bit actually dire and a bit sad actually. That actually 3%, of people are actually likely to get this. I think from middle age, right? You mentioned.
Yes. And actually, the chance for getting glaucoma increases as you age. So for people who are aged 40 above, the chances of getting glaucoma increases every year.
Wow. Okay. So it's good to get a checkup then, I guess. Sure, right? And monitor that along the way as well. Now, there are plenty of places to get glaucoma diagnosed here in Singapore. I mean, virtually any ophthalmologist or eye doctor is able to carry out the testing. And kind of like what Kalu mentioned, that's what your dad did when he discovered he was diagnosed with glaucoma. Now, in a first world nation like Singapore, when people can afford to do that, do you think that being able to test this on our own using a home-based kit will be something that people will actually take to doing, investing in and actually doing consistently?
I actually find a home device can facilitate the clinicians to make medical judgment, because especially in this case, because IOP, also known as eye pressure, is keep changing. It's like a fluctuating metric over the whole day. And especially for people with glaucoma, it's really important to monitor this change over the day, so the ophthalmologist can kind of draft customized treatment plan for the glaucoma patients. So if you want to do this at hospital, you need to stay there, because you need to get your IOP checked every 2 to 3 hours. And I believe people around Singapore, everyone is busy. They have their own plans every day. So it's really troublesome.
So IOP is an intraocular pressure, right?
Yes, it's the intraocular pressure. And I can recall my dad needs to rush to the hospital every 2 to 3 hours. So the whole day we went just to check his eye pressure 5 times. It's really a disruption of daily life routine. Yeah, and this kind of at-home device, people can use at any frequency at their disposal. And it actually cut down a lot of healthcare costs as well. Yeah, people can take one too.
So it sounds like the appeal of doing it, or rather the convenience of doing it at home, it can be quite appealing. Just like how we have the COVID-19 test kits, right?
Yes.
Have been distributed by the government and also by our companies as well that allow us to test, do the ART testing at home. So it's nice now that we have an option also to do home-based testing for glaucoma through your invention. Now, there have been other home-based devices that have been designed for self-tonometry to detect and monitor glaucoma worldwide. For example, the eye care home developed by a Finnish company many years ago. So how was your project idea of this home-based kit for testing glaucoma? How is that unique and innovative in this regard?
From our understanding, we know that eye care is commercially available. But the thing is, it is really expensive. Only the single device will cost $2,000 to $3,000 USD dollars. And the probe, which is the detecting probe, you need to dispose that every time after you measure. And each probe will cost around $1 USD. And the device is pressed directly onto the cornea. And it's really inaccurate compared to the clinical golden standard. And it's really position dependent. But for our invention, the hopes, we actually we are ideally free of contact, direct contact with people's cornea. So what we so this invention hopes is actually based on a different mechanism. So we rely on machine learning, and people can conveniently and easily test it without any pain by just directly press on their eyelid instead. So there's no cornea contact. And because of the benefit from machine learning, our device is also able for patients with cornea irregularities, or like maybe some people have gone through eye surgeries, their cornea may feel a bit uncomfortable if it's in direct contact with the probe. Yeah. So because we are promoting a non-invasive solution, so I think, it's quite.
So it sounds like the differentiation is in the contact.
Something we'd like to add as well, I think, would be that while GAT and the usual methods of tonometry described, such as eye care, they use the direct contact with the cornea. So there's a lot of risk involved, especially say if you were administering this to an old person at home, you would still need someone who is properly trained in order to make sure that no one gets hurt. Whereas our approach, what we aim is to take away the skill required to test your own eyes, really, by just having the contact of the sensor with the sorry, I don't know whether you can see. Yes, okay.
Yes, I can.
Yeah. So yeah, this is our sensor, and so you just have to contact it directly with the eyelid, right? And then so and we use this our sensor here to kind of generate a pressure map, which will then we then use machine learning to understand what your eye pressure is. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lot more high tech than the other one.
Yeah, that's why we need people from all walks of science and technology to come together to then we can then really think about really innovative solutions to problems.
Right. Thanks, David. Yeah. Now, is this invention designed to replace the role of doctors in monitoring glaucoma? Because I think I did hear Kadu mention a little bit about how the IOP, the intraocular pressure, actually varies throughout the day. And by being able to do this at the comfort of their own home, they're able to chart, I think, the differences in eye pressure with greater ease, and perhaps a bit more frequently than if they had to keep rushing over to see the doctors. So does that mean that this is going to replace the role of how doctors are monitoring glaucoma? And if not, what role does it play in augmenting the doctor's role in monitoring this condition?
So our solution is not to replace doctors' role in diagnosis, but we aim to help clinicians to design treatment plans. Because of the fluctuating metric, the nature of the IOP in glaucoma patients. So because you can't rush and you stay at hospital for 24 hours just to keep monitoring it. If you do it at home, and our device we intend to add the Bluetooth feature. So after you capture the eye pressure, the data can be just directly transferred to the cloud, and clinicians later they can access this data. It's actually to help them understand your condition more. So the patient's condition, so it's to understand the patient's condition more is actually just to help the clinicians to make more accurate medical judgments. So that's actually what we're aiming for here.
Right, thank you, Kalu. Yeah, I think that really helps. I think they have a fuller picture of what's going on, or perhaps just a bit more data points, I suppose, as reference in making a professional judgment call or what to do next. So now that we know what inspired the team to focus on this topic, and also how you got to understand a little bit more about it, let's find out what inspired the idea for the solution. So team, how did you go about designing the solution? Was there a specific scientific way of thinking that informed your steps?
Well, I think when we first thought about the problem, right, the first thing that we did was basically to do the research. So first we asked the questions, right? So what's glaucoma, and then what are the literature reviews, and what have other people understood about glaucoma? What are the problems and the gaps in the technology that currently exist, and what are the expert understanding of glaucoma? I think all these things help us to first construct a overview of our problem, and then once we understand the problem, then we can move on to create to think about our solutions to the problem, and then from our solutions we ideate and iterate to assess our solutions effectiveness, and then of course after that, then you iterate and you make better and better prototypes, and then from there your testing and your hypothesis begin to refine itself, and then we after a while we can then evaluate whether or not our product is ready to be shared with other people. Yes. Yeah. So the basic scientific approach is really to do a literature review, understand the problem, ideate a solution, iterate, and then redo what's that? Yeah, basically then loop back around and understand the problem again, using what we've gathered.
Right. So that definitely sounds a lot to me like the scientific method. Yeah, where there's testing and the hypothesis, testing of the hypothesis, and then looping back and forth. I think till that is proved right, so to speak. Yeah. Wonderful. What do you think are the skills or qualities required to come up with a solution of this nature to a problem?
Well, I think it really helps that we have different perspectives when we come into working on a project like this, especially even though we might read the same literature, because we come from different educational backgrounds and we've learned about different things, we come in with different perspectives of how we can approach the solution. And so Lisa and Kalu really helped to think about how we can design the form factor, the sensor, and how all of hopes really came together. Yeah. And I think one of the main skills that really come to mind when approaching problems like this is really the PhD. PhD is perseverance, hard work, and determination. Yeah. So, yeah, because I mean they're both PhD students.
Okay,
Yeah.
thankfully it's not permanent head damage. Yeah.
Persistence, hard work, and determination. These three things, and also I think understanding and teamwork really come together to help our team to come up with a coherent solution to our problem. Yeah.
Okay. I think you mentioned something about a sensor, so it sounds like there's definitely STEM featuring in the design of the solution. What other aspects of STEM is featured inside this solution, and what disciplines actually come into play for this? For example, biology and things like that.
I guess okay. So maybe I can go through the different components of our design one by one. So firstly, I guess we rely on biology. So going through science, technology, engineering, mathematics, we use biology to understand the problem of glaucoma and how people currently treat it, and our problem as a whole. Then maybe thought about our solution itself. Kalu has a material science background, and Lisa has a electronics background, and I myself have some of a background in computing, right? So when we look at this entire device that we've made, this part here, which is the tactile sensor, consists of a material which Kalu thought of, and then it's connected to a tactile circuit, right? Which will detect and monitor the changes in the material when we touch it with our eye. And that one was designed by
like
Lisa,
biological,
right? Yeah. So then and then all the electrical signals in here, we require electronics to understand. So like physics, how does the electron move from here all the way to here, and how do we understand what's going on in there? And then after that, when we take this data and then we process it in the computer, that's yet another field. So all this different different components, right? We can then string them together, to make our product. Yes, to make hopes.
So the product currently looks like a hand, right? And I think you mentioned that you were doing a demo of it just now, earlier in the conversation, how you were pressing, I think, your eyeball, but not directly on making contact with the cornea.
Yeah, we touch the eyelid
itself. So for the other fingers, what's actually running through that?
Oh, no. Basically, what we have here is we've mounted the sensor onto a dummy hand. Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, this one would be worn by the user, and then the user will then touch their eye.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like a little glove.
Yes.
On the index finger.
Yes. So if I were to put it on, it would be mounted onto my hand instead. Okay, let me try to do that now. Let's see. Yeah, so we'll put it onto the hand, and right now, so this is currently how we do it. Yeah, so this is basically an early stage of our prototype, really, of our device, and this is how it's meant to be worn.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And basically what happens is then now we touch the eyelid with our sensor, and then we collect the sensor data in the form of a colorimetric pressure map, and that will tell us how hard that will tell us basically how much force is being exerted back by our eyelid, and then we use that information and process it to then work out the eye pressure. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Thanks, David. That
So,
helps me visualize
yeah.
better.
So that's basically how STEM comes into play. We use different fields of science and engineering and math really to take the data, collect it, and process it.
Wow, amazing. Did any STEM concepts that you had learned in school prove useful in understanding the problem and designing the solution?
I think all sorts of concepts were really important, especially I guess critical thinking, to ideate the solution and then to think critically about what we need to do, and what are the current gaps in our current design. And then to form hypotheses about how we can improve and refine the work that we're doing. Yes.
Okay, thanks, David. Okay, let's move on to the next pillar of this discussion, which is reflections. What was the best part about the project?
Hey, Danny. So I would say engineering is not intangible. It can really transform into a visible solutions to improve people's life. So one of the best part about this project is when we actually build up our first prototype, which David showed just now, and we were able to get the readings. That was a very exciting moment of three of us.
Yeah. But the final prototype really looks impressive. So well done. Was your team actually equipped to put this together in terms of the skill sets when you came together? Or did you have any challenges, and how did you navigate them? So,
I think as David mentioned before, so we are coming from different backgrounds. So me and Kalu were more on material science and electronics. David is from computing and programming. So we have conducted a lot of experiments, or I would say trials, to test out our device, and failure definitely happened in the process. So yeah, and failure is the mother of the success. We usually say that. So we don't scare about failures. So what we need to do is to coming from to do some brainstorming and think of the challenge from different perspective and come up with proper solutions to optimize it.
Thanks for sharing. Lisa, what other problems did you encounter, or did you encounter any other problems in the project?
When we start designing this device, the form factor at first we have is a bulky electronics, and also we are trying to reduce it to reduce the device and the sensors into a single glove design, which can fit. We call it one glove fit all. So everyone can use the device to test out. And also another challenge is that we need to collect a large set of data to optimize our performance and to improve the prediction of our devices. As for how to improve on the designs, actually we did talk to end users and other volunteers to gain their feedback and understand actually what they need. And to improve the device from the design and usability aspect. And we also fabricate artificial eye model. So it's basically for lab use. So we are using the artificial eye models to collect the preliminary data for our testing, because we will do the clinical trials, but not at this stage. So at this stage, we are mainly using the artificial eye models to test out the devices.
Wait, sorry, Lisa, did I hear you right? Did you mention artificial eye model?
Yep. So it's lab fabricate devices that to mimic the structure of our eye, and we are able to modulate the IOP with external liquid manipulative instrument.
That really sounds high-tech, a bit Frankenstein as well. So you're able to actually record different IOP readings using this eye model.
Yeah, we are able to modulate and monitor the IOP value of this model.
It's interesting. So you've come up with an innovation, and it sounds like you had to come up with other things in the lead up to this final prototype. So even the eye model, I'm assuming, was designed in the lead up to this. So it's quite interesting how you've innovated along the way. Wow, that's really impressive. Yeah. What have you learned in the course of this whole journey as a team?
In developing these devices, together with joining the James Dyson competition, we did share knowledge and wonderful ideas among teammates and even other young inventors. We joined the JDA together, and we learned how to work as a team and to organize the task among team members. And actually for invention, we really need to fully understand what is the motivation of your application and what is your final target that you want to achieve.
Thanks a lot, Lisa. Yeah, well put. Kalu and David, you want to add anything to that?
And I think because we are coming from different perspectives, like some of us from material, from electronics, and communication is really very important, because we are only our field expertise, but we may not be very professional in other fields. So I think patience is very important. Like you have the patience to communicate among team members, and also, as Lisa has mentioned, organization skills. So really before the competition, we need to prepare like not just the prototype, but a lot of write-ups. And at the same time, we're doing our own research work. So all these are very crucial, and I think I've actually cultivate a lot of useful skills from this competition.
Thanks for sharing that, Kalu. David, I think you also alluded to PhD right just now.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, it's a lot about perseverance, hard work, and determination. I think something that that we really learn in the course of this journey, and especially in the PhD work that we do, is that sometimes you can't find the solution out there. Sometimes you really meet a problem that no one else has created a solution for, and in that scenario, that's when you hit, wow, it's something magical, it's something novel, and it's I think something that we learn is that if we are able to seize that opportunity to make make that problem, make a solution for a problem like that, it becomes really valuable to people. Yeah.
Right. So I guess a lot of this could feed into the answers for the next question, which is some of the important qualities that team should have to be successful. So things like you mentioned, about being plugged into a network of other inventors and sharing and learning from one another. How Kalu mentioned things like communication is key. And then I think, David, you touched on, perseverance, being hardworking and determination as value sets, and being opportunistic as well to see a gap in being creative, in innovating. So is there anything else to add to that in terms of successful qualities that, or important qualities that a team should have to be successful?
I would say that we should always start with a can-do attitude. Yeah, you should always dare to dream and imagine a solution. The moment we are bogged down by our own, reservations about what is and is not possible without having it, substantiated. That fear, it restricts us, and really we need to imagine what is possible, and then we can really create innovative products. Yeah.
Would I say imagination helps?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Wow.
I think knowledge helps to augment imagination. It makes the ideas that you create, feel that much more realizable. Yeah.
Right.
And also there's one more thing to add, because we're young engineers. So we may show some naivety in this field, but it's okay, because it's actually the naivety that may actually boost some of the new ideas coming up. Yeah.
Thanks, Kalu and David. Now, assuming there's not the end of the world, if we discover we have glaucoma, what can we do to, we know we can't stop, it's not curable at this point, but what can we do to slow the progression of glaucoma? I think you did mention something about eye drops. What else can we do?
I think, other than using the prescribed eye drops, there's also good eye care, taking care of your eyes, and also there are surgical means to alleviate these the increase in eye pressure, but it is not a full cure. Yeah, so you still need to monitor your condition, how your glaucoma is progressing over time, in order to treat it better. Yeah, and that's why we have hopes, because over a long period of time, if you are able to monitor, you are able to monitor your own eye condition, you can then get more, more the better medication. Is that a better good way to say it? I guess
Okay.
it's if you know how bad your glaucoma is, then your medicine can be more precise. Is that the right way to say it? Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I hear you. I think in terms of appropriating the right dosage, perhaps, of medication, the right type of medication, based on how advanced glaucoma is, through the regular monitoring of this using the devices like what you have come up with, as well as the consults to the ophthalmologist as well. But you mentioned eye health, so I think that's something that everyone can relate to. What can we do at home that will help to relieve some of that IOP, the intraocular pressure, or eyeball pressure?
Well, regular eyes exercises do help, and kind of reducing your screen time, especially now that we're all working from home so often. A lot of times we forget that that we're supposed to look away from the screen every few hours,
Yes.
and to go out
Guilty of
and
that.
see the world, that yeah, the internet is not all there is. You need to go out and see the trees. Yeah, yeah. So that's a good way that you can take care of both your health, your physical health, and your eyes. Yeah, to go out and see the world.
Okay, so
Yeah,
like a
go
break from
take a walk in
screen
a park.
time.
Exactly.
You mentioned something about eyeball exercises, right? What was
Yes,
that?
yes. What's a good?
Actually, we have this in China. We call it like so. It's kind of like they will play a song. They will do this kind of eye exercises. You just follow the rhythm. It only take like 10 minutes every day, but it just kind of like a soothing eye massaging session. You can easily do on your own, and I believe there's a lot of online tutorial. Yes.
Interesting. Thanks for sharing that, Kalu. Did you do that when you were in China?
Yeah, it's actually mandatory for primary and secondary school students.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I remember when I was young in primary school as well. Yeah, we had what's that? This session where we would wear these very big goggles, and they would like give you like relaxing what's that, pictures to look at. Yeah, that was a very interesting thing that we used to do in primary school. Yeah, as well as walking in the park to like do eye exercises as well.
Lisa, is there something that you do that's unique to you, special to you, to help to relieve your eyeball pressure? I put you on the spot there. It's okay. If it's something similar to what the rest have mentioned, that's fine as well. I'm just curious because David has mentioned nature a few times. So it sounds like that might be something that he's doing. I was wondering if there's something that you do as well. And Kalu mentioned some eyeball exercises.
Actually, what we usually do will be look far and look on green colors, forests, trees, which relieve the pressure of your eye, and don't overuse your eyes, I think.
Right. Great. That's very straightforward, practical tips from all of you. Thank you so much. All right. For next steps, congratulations. You are not only a national, but you're an international winner of the James Dyson Award. I don't know how much better you can get from that. So where do you intend to go from here?
Okay, so yeah, thanks for the sharing. Thanks for the mentioning. And so we are currently continuing our collaboration with local hospitals, which is National University Hospital, to collect patients' eye pressure data so that we can further develop our machine learning model. We also want to improve the design and form factor of our devices. And yeah, a part of that, we are also think of friendly features like Bluetooth and crowd sharing function that can improve our telehealth app interfaces.
Wow, wonderful. So it sounds like it's going to go the way of the Iron Man suit. All the modifications, and it's going to get a bit more like, snug and streamlined to your body. And of course, as you mentioned, also the technology side of things is going to be refined as well along the way. So a lot to look forward to for your revised prototypes, perhaps. What would you say to students that are watching this episode, looking at you, hearing you, and feeling inspired by what your team has achieved?
Well, I would say that you too can do it. It's not an impossible task. It's not well, no, now we can even go to space, so it's not, I wouldn't say it's like going to space. It's not impossible. I think to make something awesome, what you, as students, what you should do is to build your own foundation, make your own solid foundation in scientific knowledge, and don't be afraid to ask questions. When you can't find when you can't find the answers, try to think about how you can find your own answers. Make your own answers with your own hands. Do your own research. Don't rely on what other people tell you can and cannot do. If your teacher's gonna say, we're only gonna learn this, then you should say no. Go out, learn everything you can. Be hungry. The hungry people eat more. The hungry people eat more. So when you have that foundation in scientific knowledge, you can take that knowledge and then you should use it with your own hands. Make your own experiments, make your own things happen. The maker movement is a really big thing these days, and it's a really inspiring movement because it means that people like you and me, students, and average people can go out and learn from the world, and don't be afraid to make mistakes, and then they design these beautiful inventions that really change the world.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks, David. Yeah, I think it's really, really inspiring what you shared about a lot of self-directed learning here. Yeah, and just being hungry and curious to try and not being afraid to fail as well. Yeah, that's really fantastic. And coming up with the solutions in your own hands, I thought that was just amazing. Yeah, fantastic. Thanks for all the wonderful insights, Lisa, Kalu, and David. With that, I wish to thank our guest, Team Hopes, for contributing to this discussion on eye health. I've certainly learned much from your candid sharing team, and I believe the rest of our viewers did too. If you're watching this, viewers, on YouTube and you haven't subscribed to our channel, please hit that notification bell to subscribe. And if you're watching the STEMTogether series on Facebook, click follow. Remember, like and share this video with your friends. Stay tuned for our next conversation. This is Danny with my guests from Team Hopes, Kalu, Lisa, and David signing out. Bye-bye.